Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Prime News on my Major Prime. My name is Gienda. Peldrin Blanche, King, Mistalio, Atebazo, Magasco, Salatiel, Billy Bob Ndiveli Fongo, Musin Derrick, and 56 other entertainers have been awarded medals of honor by the President of the Republic, President Paul Biya, through the Ministry of Arts and Culture in recognition for their contribution towards the growth of the culture sector in Cameroon. The award ceremony took place earlier today in Yaoundé. The national president of the Popular Action Party, Mr. Njang Denis Tabe, has condemned with all energy what he terms undemocratic attitude of the ruling CPDM party on the opposition in Cameroon, particularly the MRC political party of Professor Maurice Kamto. This is contained in a release signed yesterday, November 26, 2020. Details in the following report with Lasha Kinsley.
In a release signed on November 26, 2020 by the national president, Njang Denis Tabe, the Popular Action Party condemns what it terms undemocratic attitude of the CPDM-led government on the opposition in Cameroon in general and militants of the MRC party of Professor Maurice Kamto in particular. The communique also notes in part that the systematic crackdown on militants of MRC since September 22, 2020 is a big shame to democracy, liberalism, and a total violation of the 1990 freedom of speech and association laws. The party joins its voice to those of other Cameroonians home and abroad to extend and express their continuous support and encouragement to the leader of MRC, Professor Maurice Kamto, and other militants imprisoned because of their political inclinations. Njang Denis Tabe ended by saying that the action of the CPDM-BIA regime is an indication to the national and international communities of their unpopularity, incompetence, and illegitimacy to Cameroonians.
Religious leaders in Cameroon have reaffirmed their stance for peace to reign in the nation. This was top on the list during a two-day capacity building workshop which took place at the Synod office in Boya, aimed at empowering participants with peace building skills. Clarissa Kowe reports.
Drawn from the 10 regions of Cameroon, these are pastors and religious leaders who have come to gain knowledge on conflict resolutions and sustainable peace. Faced with the insecurity of the Boko Haram insurgency in the far north and the Anglophone crisis in the restive English-speaking regions, these participants see the workshop is timely.
Respective dioceses and our respective religious communities, that we are able to give a message that is relevant, especially in the context of what we are suffering now in the northwest and southwest regions, and even in the far north region with Boko Haram and all of that. We need to be people of peace. We have suffered more than enough, and the sooner peace comes back to our land, the better for all of us.
There is no peace, there is no development. We are trying the best to lead the believers to the best way, to the way of peace. It's for that purpose that we are involved in the peace process.
Through video projections and for 2 days, these participants were drilled on the nature of conflict and how they can be peace builders by facilitators drawn from far and near.
They need to know how to carry out a complete conflict analysis. And this complete conflict analysis, they have to analyze the causes of the conflict, they have to analyze the actors and the dynamics of the conflict. And then after that, we have talked generally about peace building, how they can go about building peace strategically so that their peace programs can be effective.
At the end of the 2 days capacity building workshop, some resolutions were taken.
That peace cannot be kept by force, but can only be achieved by understanding. That the government of Cameroon should consider the possibility of mediating unto this crisis, if that is the only option, that is needed to end the senseless and armed conflict.
As ambassadors of peace, these religious leaders were tasked to preach peace in their various communities.
The Catholic University of Buea Douala campus welcomed freshmen and second-year students today for the 2020-2021 academic year. The ceremony, which took place at the Namfang Party Hall, was chaired by the president of CUIB, Professor Julius Victor Ngo. Details with Audrey Zatza.
The message is putting God first in all activities, focusing on education, being one another's keeper, and thanking both choir members and organizers for their wonderful animation and ensuring respect of barrier measures against the COVID-19 respectively. In the welcome speech of the president of Catholic University Institute Buea, Professor Victor Julius Ngo, dominated today's freshman and sophomore convocation ceremonies of the CUIB Douala campus, except.
This ceremony was essentially an academic ceremony, a mass-relation exercise, which officially recognizes the new students as being part and parcel of the Catholic University Institute of Buea.
The ceremony exuberant in Namfang Party House at Bonamusa di Douala as students danced in joyful steps during the mass service for blessing before the start of the event. The president, in his speech, equally stressed on the importance of continuous assessment while calling on lecturers to provide best quality material for students. Ceremony proceeded with an oath-taking of freshmen and sophomores. This was the take-home message of the president of CUIB Douala campus.
I want to thank all my students, staff, faculty, who band together for this event to be wonderful.
Fokweng Bradley, a second-year student, had this to say.
Yes, we should study hard. And when, as you took the oath about professionalism, and our professionalism, we should be true to ourselves. We should be true in what we do. We should respect others. And we should be morally upright.
The Entrepreneurial University CUIB Douala campus is an extension of the Catholic University Institute of Buea, which opened doors to students in September 10th with the aim of preparing professional servant leaders with moral and spiritual values to contribute to the sustainable development of their communities. Ceremony thus ended in a festive mood with students chanting with joy.
Minister of Public Works, Minister Nganu Jumesi, was in Douala earlier today for a working session with members of GCAM, the umbrella organization grouping businessmen in Cameroon, on how to push forward major construction works in the country. Etape Content has details of this story in the French language.
La disponibilité des matériaux sur le marché par les patrons du secteur privé pour le prolongement de la durée de vie des routes en terre est l'une des résolutions à retenir à l'issue de cette rencontre. Extrait.
La prolongation de la durée des routes en terre. Il faut à disponibiliser sur le marché national ces matériaux qui ont été agréés pour la durée
Ont participé à cette séance de discussion le président du GCAM, le gouverneur de la région du littoral. Dans le choix d'une entreprise prestataire des projets, la décision revient aux bailleurs de fonds.
Nous avons un financement conjoint que nous partageons avec un partenaire étranger. Ce sont les règles de ce partenaire qui prévalent dans le choix du partenaire technique qui doit réaliser l'infrastructure.
Pour ce qui concerne la réalisation de ces projets, inutile d'aller chercher le technicien ailleurs quand les entreprises nationales sont compétentes.
Il a expliqué un certain nombre de choses et il nous a clarifié dans un certain nombre de choses. Mais on attend aussi beaucoup du gouvernement, du ministère des Travaux publics, aussi dans d'autres choses qu'on pense que l'État et le gouvernement doivent faire.
Toutefois, si le gouvernement a l'ambition de mieux réaliser de nombreux projets infrastructurels, une main est tendue désormais par les patrons du secteur privé.
The National Syndicate of Actors and Urban Music in Cameroon held its second quarterly meeting for the year 2020 recently. The meeting was a platform to evaluate the challenges faced by Cameroon urban artists and their contributions to peace in the two English-speaking regions of the country. Crise reports.
The National Syndicate of Actors and Urban Musicians in Cameroon, SYNAMOCA, has held its second general meeting for the year 2020. During this meeting that took place in Boya and that brought together these actors, the focus was to review some of the challenges facing urban artists, among which is the lack of sponsorship for artists' concerts. For several hours, these young talented artists brainstormed on such challenges by suggesting the way forward to overcome some of the challenges so as to elevate the standard of living of Cameroon urban artists registered under the syndicate.
And a union is just a organization which permits to change. Our role is to change the life of artists. We know that artists are not good in our context in our country, so we want to give strength and opportunity to wish to transform that conditions.
With this meeting coming at a time when some Cameroonian artists are being criticized for their inability to use their popularity as musicians to mitigate the adverse effects of the ongoing Anglophone crisis, the Assistant Secretary General of SYNAMOCA, Suleiman Pinda, says through Operation Know Your Neighbor, this will curb the rising insecurity in the badly affected Southwest region, adding that this will be achieved through the training of some 100 youths who will be later deployed into the communities.
Considering what the Southwest is facing now, it is about time we sensitize the society on what's going on, because most of the times currently we have been having situations which we don't know the perpetrators and we don't know what is going on because we don't know our neighbors. So our second objective of today's program is to sensitize. We have youth in there, we are trying to sensitize, to go out there and sensitize the public in code, and the term of this sensitization is knowing your neighbor. If you have a conscious neighbor, you'll be able to know what is going on in your absence. You'll be able to identify what is going on. So it's about time we help the Southwest region to be able to identify what is really going on by knowing who is your neighbor.
At the end of deliberations, members of the Southwest Regional Bureau of the National Syndicate of Urban Artists were commissioned into their new post of responsibilities, with a task for them to ensure that they take the Cameroon urban artist music to the next big level.
Let's now get news making events around Africa in the following report.
Uganda has adopted the village health team strategy as a new way to curb the second phase of coronavirus in the country. Under the VHT strategy, community members who have basic knowledge about health care go door to door to check on the health conditions of local households. Once suspicious COVID-19 cases are detected, they are sent to the nearest health center for further examination. Uganda registered 484 new COVID-19 cases on Wednesday, bringing the national caseload to over 18,000, while 5 new related deaths have been reported, taking the nationwide death toll to 191. According to data from Uganda Health Ministry. The World Health Organization has equally warned that the Uganda's epidemic situation is likely to worsen, noting that for the last 4 weeks, the country has recorded more than 6,000 COVID-19 cases and 60 deaths. Meanwhile, Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has appealed to Nigerians to bear the pains of restriction of movement as a result of the deadly coronavirus pandemic, insisting the lockdown will last as long as necessary in order to contain the virus. According to a statement from his senior special assistant issued on Saturday, the defeat of COVID-19 in Nigeria rests squarely in the hands of Nigerians, and the freedom they willingly forsake today will only last as long as scientific advices declare they are necessary. In Sudan, Sadiq Al-Mahdi, Sudan's last democratically elected prime minister and leader of the country's largest political party, is no more. Sources confirm he died of COVID-19 in a hospital in the United Arab Emirates, where he was taken to for treatment in early November. He died earlier today. Sudan's government has declared 3 days of national mourning starting today. He died at the age of 84. Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has announced they are to launch a final offensive against the Sender Tigray authorities in Mekelle, the capital of northern region. Abiy Ahmed wrote on his Facebook account saying the army has been ordered to carry out operation against the leaders of the Tigray People's Liberation Front. Abiy further promised not to cause serious damage to the city, but the army will protect civilians. Abiy Ahmed also called for non-interference from external parties as he tempted Ethiopia's internal affairs. This comes after the end of a 3-day surrender ultimatum.
Legendary boxer Mike Tyson will hit the ring this weekend after 15 years of retirement in an exhibition bout against another legend of the sport. These and more up ahead with Eileen Sama.
3 police officers have been suspended by French authorities after they were seen on video beating up a black music producer in central Paris. Michel Zecler received dozens of punches and kicks for over 5 minutes in his own studio. The victim had stepped outside without a mask and returned to the studio to obtain one when he was assaulted by the police officers who followed him inside, repeatedly shouting racial slogans as he narrated. On Monday, police were accused of using unnecessary force as they dismantled a makeshift migrant camp in Paris, France. In China, 6 people, including several doctors, have been jailed for illegally harvesting organs from accident victims, reports say. The group had tricked the families of the deceased into thinking they were making official organ donations. Between 2017 and 2018, they are said to have removed the livers and kidneys from 11 people at a hospital in Anhui province. China is grappling with a huge shortage of organs and has struggled to meet demand through public donations. Diego Armando Maradona, Argentina's hand of God football star, was laid to rest on Thursday, November 26th in Buenos Aires, 1 day after he died at the age of 60 from a heart attack. Riots and bloodshed broke out at the legend's funeral as thousands lined the streets to see his coffin. His heartbroken fans lined Buenos Aires streets on Thursday as his coffin was taken out from the Casa Rosada government house to be laid to rest in the outskirts of the city where his parents are also buried. Mike Tyson, legendary boxer, also called Iron Mike, returns to the ring this weekend after 15 years of retiring. Tyson will lace up his gloves once more against a legend of the sport, Roy Jones Jr., in an exhibition bout. Throughout COVID-19 lockdown, Iron Mike has been showing off his incredible body transformation and looks in prime condition despite turning 54 in June.
It will be a busy weekend in Limbe, southwest region of Cameroon, as several matches have been programmed. In one of the games, Option Sports Academy of Limbe will clash with city rivals Victoria United in the return leg of a pre-season friendly game whose first leg ended in favor of Victoria United. Details with sportsman Fabrice Keninga.
After recording a 1-2 defeat to Victoria United Football Club last weekend in a pre-season friendly game, ambitious Limbe-based side Option Sports Academy will be looking forward to turning the table around when both sides meet again in the return leg clash bid for this Sunday, November 29 at the community field from 1 p.m. It will be time for Coach Kmer Ernest to right the wrongs of last week's game, which saw his side taking the lead barely 2 minutes into the game, but ended up losing in spite giving Opopo tough times in the second segment of the game. After the victory, experienced coach Njoku Barnabas told the press that he has to improve on his midfield compartment.
Yeah, we have to improve in the midfield. I realize that my opponent win all the second balls, which is very, very dangerous for us. We have to work towards that. It's not good when the ball comes back in the middle and we are not present, so we have to work the second ball.
Though Coach Kmer Ernest of Option Sports Academy was disappointed with the defeat, he maintains that his team is ready for the championship whenever it begins.
Only the other last time that we are prepared for the championship. We know the people that will play. By playing this friendly match, we can know who is who in our team.
Both teams have been training in Limbe ahead of this Sunday's game, which will be a clash of local rivals, as both sides are eyeing an early ticket this season. The football-loving population of Limbe would on Sunday from 1 p.m. watch palatable soccer made in Fako at the community field, considering the fact that both sides know themselves.
That's it for Prime News. Thanks for being a part of today's edition of the news. The news was produced by Ewane Eli Nolinga, coordinated by Lasha Kingsley. My name is Genda Pelgrim Blanche King. Until we meet again on Monday at 6:30, God willing, for another edition of Prime News. Stay tuned to my Major Prime at 7 p.m. Cameroon time. Prime Hour will be live with Leonard and his analysts. Stay tuned. Happy weekend and happy viewing.